On this week's episode, can Ruben Amorim rest easy after the win over Chelsea? We induct our first player into the Fergie's Gum Hall of Fame. There's a look at United's need for back-to-back wins at Brentford, and we answer more of your questions in the Gummers Mailbag. All this and much more on Fergie's Gum, a Manchester United podcast. Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine and I'm joined by Paul Cropper. He's here, everyone. My first question to you, mate, is have you managed to dry off from the game at Old Trafford on Saturday?
No, I've not had my jumper off since then, as you can see. My shoes were soggy. Oh, horrible. Horrible it was, pal.
You sending those pictures through, it was quite the contrast because obviously I'm here in sunny Dubai, probably too sunny Dubai right now. But you was on your way to Old Trafford and the rain was just bouncing off anything and everything.
Yeah, I don't think the telly actually showed how bad it was, but I was messaging you. It was coming down sideways. The poor people at the front into Alex Ferguson stand must have been drenched. Yeah, it was horrible. But,
should we start?
Manchester was horrible. Yeah, go on.
Should we start with an interesting fact? An interesting stat? Yeah, why not? Me and you, both played as many minutes on Saturday as Alejandro Garnacho. There's an interesting stat for you, mate.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, he got some stick, that lad, as well. Good.
Good. Yeah. Good. Exactly.
It was like it's like the manager threw him out. Just go and warm up, get a bit of stick, and then sit back down, lad. Brilliant.
Yeah,
loved it.
Because it did look like he was coming on at one point, but yeah, that did make my day. I loved the heat map where it showed him coming out of the tunnel, going to the bench as well.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Fantastic.
The internet is undefeated with stuff like that. My first question to you, mate, is: does this result save Ruben Amorim's job?
Oh yeah, I think it does. We said the next 3 games, don't we? Would be the deciding factor on his future. You could tell at Old Trafford that it was a massive game, Nathan. The atmosphere was brilliant. It doesn't come through on the telly, does it? It doesn't come through the atmosphere, but you could sense it was a big game for the manager and a big game for United. Yeah, you could feel it. So yeah, I think it does. I think it probably papers over a few of the cracks.
Right, well, that's 2 separate things. One says that he's saving his job, and the other one says that it's papering over the cracks. So, which one is it then? Which one is it?
Soggy cracks papered over. But yeah, it saves him for now, doesn't it? Saves him until Saturday.
It does feel like that. It does feel like every single game is going to be his last game in charge. And I think, the thing is, he's kind of brought that on himself. Ruben Amorim brought that on himself by saying, I'll walk away, or the players have told me what they want. And, all of this stuff where it's, you kind of don't, in the heat of the moment, you kind of think he'd walk away if he could. Or he doesn't fear the sack and all the rest of it. So he's kind of brought it on himself. I think the big thing about the weekend, the big thing about that Chelsea result was they definitely showed a lot of character. They showed that they were ready to fight for him. We'll come on to the individual aspects of the game in a second, but the chief amongst it was when the chips were down, they all dug in and they all ground out that victory. And that's the only thing it'll show in the history books. 3 points, 2-1 victory. The nuances that happened in the game, down to 10 men or whatever it was, won't show any of that. So I think they have to be applauded for digging in, because I think it was difficult conditions for everyone, obviously. United obviously had the backing of the fans. As you said, couldn't quite hear them coming through. You could hear it on TV, actually, from the feeds that I was watching. You could hear the repetitive Chelsea chant with any incident, anything that happened on the pitch. Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. And that was it for everything. There was no songs for anything else. It was that was it. But yeah, I thought it was a decent performance, and I thought the result was much needed for Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, it all comes down to results at the end of the day. Where we are as a team and a club, I think we've said it a few times, all we want is for you all to work hard, and they did. And it felt like there was no passengers. Do you know, like sometimes you're carrying a Rashford, you're carrying a Garrett. It felt like there was none of that. It felt like everyone was at it and they wanted to work hard. That's all we want. That's all we want at Old Trafford. And that comes through to the fans. And then a tackle goes in. Luke Shaw shoves someone off the ball. And sometimes that's all it takes. And you get that through working hard. You don't get that through just not grafty, just
Yeah.
graft, and you'll eventually results will turn around. And I think that's all the manager's done. You mentioned something there about Ruben Amorim. It comes down to him. He has kind of ramped up the pressure on himself, hasn't he? Whether he's doing it on purpose or not, I'm not going to change. You change the man. I'm willing to walk away, and that does turn up the pressure. And Old Trafford, the pressure's already on 100 degrees as it is, isn't it? So
Yeah.
he's doing it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit. And what that does then, it builds a cauldron, right? And that's what it felt like. Old Trafford. The first first 90 seconds, Chelsea they were like, "What's this?" They didn't know what was at them, and I was like, "Bloody hell! What is this? This is brilliant." But we've done it in a few games, haven't we? After 10 minutes, it dies off a little bit again, and it seems to go like that. All right, the sending off completely changed the game. A few more instances in the game, the Casemiro, we'll probably talk about that more in depth. That changed it again. It felt like a weird game with the weather, etc. like that. Games like that, you work hard, you get your 3 points, you go home, and you could do it again on Saturday.
You did touch on it, and it's probably worth us talking about it straight off the bat. But the Casemiro sending off, I thought it was soft to begin with, but when you are a professional like he is, with so much experience as he's had in the game, you know that if there's been an early sending off in a game, and everyone at home, everyone in the stands, everyone watching on TV, everyone knows if that referee has made an early sending off, which is like, he had to send Sanchez off. There was no other way around it. It could have been 2 red cards. It was a high challenge, and he was out of his box as the last man. So, he could have got the double the double rouge. But when you look at a game like that, all you're thinking is, right, just don't do anything silly now. Don't do anything silly. Don't give him a reason to even this game up.
Yeah.
And his first challenge was daft. I know that
Silly.
Ruben Amorim had called for aggression, and his first challenge was daft. And then to do that, he actually got the ball. If you look on the replays, he did get the ball, but it's the clumsiness of like trying to get on his back as well as he's doing it. It's just ridiculous, and that put us under the cosh. And
Yeah.
it's when Ruben Amorim's looking for a victory where it's like there is no dispute in it. It's just a straight victory. Chelsea went down to 10 men and we won 3-4-0 because that's where it was heading if we kept all players on the pitch. We won 3-4-0. Good. Right. On to the next one. But we always have to make it difficult for ourselves. So it's a bit immature of Casemiro, that, and a bit naive for him to think that he wouldn't get sent off.
Well, he's going nowhere as well, Nathan, isn't he? There was a lot of that. He does that quite a lot, Casemiro. He's not going anywhere. You've got 3 men around him. I don't think it's not even a foul, really, is it? He's pulled him back a bit. Like you say, he's got the ball. But like you say, looking for any excuse to even it up. Because you're going nowhere, just make it a pointless tackle in the act. But he does, like, so he's done it before and he's done it again. The one thing I will point out about the game is when they did go down to 10 men, I think we were quite lucky Cole Palmer got taken off when we went down to 10 men. Because if he'd have had all that space, he'd have caused absolute havoc. And what happened again, the same as what happened at Fulham. We have a good start, and then all of a sudden the confidence goes and we start sitting back. You could see the manager. The manager was on the touchline and he's get out. And they don't want to. If they want to sit back and defend that, I think that's probably a natural thing from De Ligt does it. Luke Shaw likes to do it. They like to defend. They don't want to defend on the half line, but the manager doesn't want them there. He's get out, and he was screaming at them, and they're nervous to do it. And that's the thing they're gonna have. That's a confidence thing where they're just not. They just don't want to lose, and it was nervy at Old Trafford.
One thing, I'm sure it was nervy, and it was nervy watching it from home as well, because when Charlotte had popped up for that goal, he was like, "Please, God, not like this." Like, we don't want to be losing or drawing this game. Like, it has to be a victory, especially as we was given such an opportunity with Sanchez getting sent off so early. But one thing that I did think was a positive was the way that you talked about Shaw and De Ligt sitting back. When you actually watch how they was attacking the midfield, it basically nullified the effects of Caicedo and Enzo. It was they were pushing out to try and like stop them from making any moves across midfield. And to that point, it actually didn't look that bad in the middle. I know Casemiro got sent off. Felt really bad for Benjamin Šeško because I thought he was probably, he was due a couple of goals, I think. in that game. I think he could have got on the score sheet for sure. But when you look at what Shaw and De Ligt were doing, if you go back and watch that game, they were coming out and they were attacking the midfield because it was like, right, Bruno's in there. Who played? Was it Ugarte that came on? It was
Ugarte came on, yeah.
It came on. Who again had a. I don't know about that lad. But they were stepping up into midfield and they were causing that overload in midfield. Enzo and Caicedo, they can boss a midfield no problem, but they had nothing at the weekend, or maybe it was different from the stands. But from my point of view, it looked like they nullified the threat.
No, yeah, it looked exactly like that. And I was talking to next to me, and De Ligt at times was running past the midfield. He was at right wing. He were everywhere. And defensively, I thought De Ligt was absolutely outstanding. He were brilliant, and he was aggressive. Maybe that's where the change came to put him on the right hand side of the three, because he's better at doing that. Maybe that's what the change came from, because he was very good at it, good at reading the ball. He's aggressive in the tackle and he's very physical. Yeah, I've always liked De Ligt, to be fair, and I thought that was one of his best performances in the United shirt.
I think he came in with a lot of expectation as well, and I think a lot of people think he's quite cumbersome because he's a big lad, but he's got some legs on him. Like, he can get back into position, and he pulled off a couple of crucial challenges, and just throughout the team, not just De Ligt. Like, Maguire had one as well, Shaw had one, Casemiro had one, but he couldn't control it. That aggression that they showed in the tackle, and it was what Ruben Amorim was calling for. And as you said, it's a very simple thing to just ask for more aggression in your play, more physicality when you're playing against the opposition. And I think that it just G'd up the crowd. It doesn't matter if it was a goal. Like, the goals went in fantastic, but the crowd were on their feet. What you could hear on telly anyway. Crowd were like cheering them on every tackle that went in, and that's all it needs to spur those players on. So I think that was good. I think we were robbed of seeing what Šeško and Mbeumo could do together as well. Because that early flick, that was like, a step ladder came out from nowhere, and Šeško was like 3 feet above the defender. Lovely flick on. And Mbeumo had that, he knew what was coming. He knew that flick was coming, ran in onto the space. And I just, when Casemiro got sent off, I was like, it's going to be Šeško. It is going to be Šeško. I think I messaged you to say it's going to be Šeško. It shouldn't be, but it's going to be Šeško. And when he went off, I was like, man.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't affect him, because I think he's definitely got a decent future at Manchester United. If Dorgu and Ahmad can just learn to pass to him a bit quicker. There was moments when they was holding the ball. It's like, just play it to him. It's not Højlund in there now. It's another lad who's quick and he's rangy and he can get his head on it. Put that ball into him sooner, because otherwise you're gonna mess up these chances. And that was the only disappointing thing that I thought, apart from Casemiro getting sent off. But there was another thing I wanted to ask you as well. So, and it goes back to this, something that we were talking about last week as well, media bias about Manchester United. And I know every single football fan will say, the media's got an agenda against us, the media's got an agenda against them and that team. And it does feel like that at times. But Manchester United feels like a different case, feels like a special case when it comes to this. So, just I'll give you an example. The Guardian's headline, which I think I put in the group chat. Guardian's headline after that result: Manchester United hold off 10-man Chelsea after Casemiro red offers hope. I mean, two things. That headline doesn't make sense, because I don't know what Casemiro red offers hope means. So that's odd. Don't know what the editor was doing there. But the other thing is, Manchester United were down to 10 men for a majority of that game as well. So it's not like, and it's Jamie Jackson writing it, who is, I think, is he out as a Liverpool fan? I'm not entirely sure, but that headline, if anyone needs any more evidence, it's right there. But are United that bad? Have we been blindsided? Because last week it was all doom and gloom, me, you and Ahmad. So much so that I couldn't even use a lot of the clips from it, because it was all talking about doom and gloom with Ruben Amorim. A week later, team's all right. Decent result. And I can't use any of those clips. I can't say anything about Ruben Amorim.
Believe what your eyes see, Nathan. So if you think as a United fan, just go with what you can see. And I think we can all see it's not clicked yet, has it? So they'll always, because it's a big club, and like you always say, we sell stories and we get clicks and stuff like that. Negativity, as we've seen on here, and with negativity,
Yeah.
it gets more and more views, more and more clicks. People don't want to see United doing well. That's the other thing. They don't want to see it, because as soon as this United machine gets going, it's going to be hard for them to stop it. So it's keep them down there where they are. Just all I would say as a United fan, believe what you see. And I think we're all in the same boat where we want it to work. We just haven't quite seen it yet. Still
Yeah.
haven't seen it, have we? Because I was hoping to see it at the weekend. Because when you're live, you can see more. And then the sending offs and the weather just made, right, get through the game. Just get through the game. I think we can see individuals coming around to this, what he wants, slowly.
Yeah.
But it's not clicked as a team yet. Like you say, Dorgu's not really clicked, but he's physical. Ahmad,
Yeah.
that was what I wanted to mention earlier. When he moved him to wing back, he just went out of the game again. That's where the
Yeah.
goal actually comes from the Chelsea one, because he's at wing back. He's not good, and he could see. Did you see Ahmad's reaction to the goal?
Yeah.
He absolutely went mad because but this comes down to another thing where the manager is changing the centre halves and these little changes that he keeps doing as well, changing the defence, changing Ahmad to wing back. It's something the team are going to have to get used to and adjust to. So
Yeah.
I would just say believe what you see, and I think as United fans we can all see it's not going to be smooth riding, is it? We just got to try and stick with it and try and get through game by game, which is what I think the manager's doing.
Exactly. And I think out of this run of games that we've had, it was always going to be difficult, bearing in mind where we were last year or last season. You know, we finished, was it 17th we finished? 14th? 15th?
I've tried to erase it, Nathan.
When you're talking about double figures, it's best not to think about it too clearly. But when you looked at the fixtures, so you go through them. Arsenal lost at home, but looked all right. Yeah, I'm not accepting that. We should have at least got a point out of that game.
Yes.
Fulham away again, looked good. Missed chances, looked flaky again. Grimsby, I mean, the less said about that, the better. Like, that was just a absolute disaster.
The end of Onana.
Yeah, exactly. Burnley, again, looked good. Looked like we were going to dominate. Didn't. Still got the result, but it was a late penalty from Bruno that won it. City, probably not going to win that game away at the Etihad. We're going to fold there because the players haven't bedded in properly. And there's still, even in that run-up of games that I just talked about there, you still show those weaknesses where, it's easy to get through the midfield. It's easy to get one over on them because their heads go. So, you're kind of expecting that. And then a win at Chelsea, or a win at Old Trafford against Chelsea, kind of gives you a bit more hope. So out of those games, you're looking at it and going, yeah, we should have beat Fulham, we should have beat Burnley, and Grimsby. But the other ones, you probably going to lose them, is what I'm going to say with this team. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up and kind of give a bit more balance to it, because the team does look good. You said this a second ago. First 15, 20 minutes, it looks good. Like, because they're attacking, and they've done this all season, and it looks like they overwhelm the opposition to the point, again, what you said, like Chelsea going, what's going on? What's happening here? Who's marking him? Who's marking that person? Are they getting him round the back? And I think the big thing for Amorim now is he needs to find a way, whether it's a fitness thing or whether it's in-game management, to maintain that first 15 minutes over the 90 or 95 or 97, whatever it was at the bloody weekend.
Yeah.
So that's where he needs to be with the team. And I think if we start to see that from start to finish, first whistle to the last whistle, I think we'll be in a really good place. But thought we'd mix things up a little bit. We do often talk about the here and now with Manchester United and the trials and tribulations, and it can get slightly depressing. Especially at the moment, being a Manchester United fan. But obviously, we've been United fans for decades. And we've seen so many great players and terrible players come through the club. We all know that. But when we're talking about like hero status, the players that got you into supporting Manchester United, mate, these are the players that I feel like we don't talk about enough. So I think we're going to talk about the heroes of Manchester United from past and present. And just talk about the players that keep us loving Manchester United. So to kick us off, who have you got? Because I know you want to read out a list, but I'm not going to allow it. So
Yeah.
it's one. We're going to stick to the rules on this one. So you get one. You
Yeah.
get one pick, mate.
No,
You get one pick
I,
this week.
it's one pick, and I think it's a big pick. He's obviously a United legend. He's a Cantona. Me.
Oh, it's mine as
Yeah.
well, mate. It's mine as
Is it
well.
really?
But
Right.
you know
Yeah.
what? Do you know what though? I didn't want to tell you, and I didn't want you to tell me because I kind of had a feeling that it would be Cantona, and I thought we'd
Yeah.
both end up talking about it. So it doesn't matter, like if it's two separate ones. Oh no, you've stolen mine. It's difficult to
Yeah.
do that. But
No,
Cantona, top
it's
of the list. But why? Why for you?
I
Why for you?
as a kid, my dad used to always take, because I'm from Bury, my dad used to always take me to Bury, and he used to watch Bury at Gig Lane, live near Gig Lane, and the fans used to do my head in whinging. This I might try and cut the story down. He used to do my head in. Just did. My uncle was a United fan, and he said to me, I think I must have been eight or nine or something like that. He said, "I'll take you to Old Trafford." And I was like, "Really? Oh, right, okay." Never, because I've only ever been to that. What, 4,000 or some whinging people, and we
Yeah.
went to Old Trafford, and he stood in the Stretford end, and the cancer, and I was like, "What is this? This is absolutely brilliant." And yeah, and since then, like whenever my dad took me back to Gig Lane, I was like, "Oh, this is garbage." So from then on, I followed United, and yeah, the signing of Cantona, obviously, as a United fan, it seemed to have spur us on, didn't it? But his performances when he won games on his own are what I remember. Him
Yeah.
being the main man, is scoring important goals, turning up. A Crystal Palace goal. There was a goal his performance at Newcastle. Those kind of things. There wasn't really players doing that, and that
Yeah.
seems his goal in a cup final against Liverpool. These moments as a kid, especially as 8, 9, 10, going up to 13,
Yeah.
they influence you. And he was the first name he had on the back of my shirt. I still wear it now, as you've seen on the
Yeah.
podcast. I still
Yeah.
got a Cantona shirt on the back. And when I wear that and I go to the game, and when you wear that, you watch games in the pub and things like that, fellas come up to you, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, oh, Cantona, and they still talk. We still all reminisce about Cantona,
Yeah.
and we still all think of him as a club legend. So yeah, when you say club legend, first name, first person I thought of, collar up, who
Yeah.
are Cantona. Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. I think from our era, so 80s to now, obviously we were super young in the 80s. But during the 90s, like that early 90s football, Premier League era, when it was kicking off, you're right, there weren't that many superstar players that were as big as Eric Cantona. And do you know what the weird thing is? Like my fascination with Cantona came before he'd even gone to Manchester United because he was I think was he at Sheffield Wednesday?
he
He was
had
at
trials at
Leeds.
Sheffield Wednesday. He had a
That's it.
trial at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And weirdly, and I might have remembered this wrong, but weirdly, I think he was in like one of the early Sensible Soccers as like a Sheffield Wednesday player. I think so. I might be wrong. I might have remembered it wrong.
Right.
Well, I did have this fascination because my uncle at the time was like talking about this, Cantona and they've signed this, this French lad to come over. He's really good. And then I watched a couple of games when he was at Leeds. And I was like, yeah, he's good, this lad. And then it was like, he's going to United. And that just blew my mind. And obviously I was already following him, following his career from his trials at Sheffield Wednesday to playing for Manchester United. And as you say, collar up, didn't matter who you supported. Everyone in the playground or everyone that was playing football, collar up on their shirts because
Yeah.
everyone wanted to emulate him. And
Yeah.
he was like a really imposing figure as well because he wasn't the fastest, but barrel chested. Yeah.
Aura.
But
He had aura.
100% aura. The
Uh,
kids talk
yeah.
about it today. They don't know. They do
No.
not know. When we're
Yeah.
talking aura, Cantona was aura. That goal when he scored it again,
Sunderland.
Sunderland?
Middlesbrough, Sunderland. The Dink.
Yeah. Come on, you find who it was against while
Yeah.
I'm riffing, but I can't remember who it was. Red and white kit, obviously. But that goal and the way that he turned around, like His collar's already up and he's just taking it in like a gladiator at the Colosseum. He's just felled his opponent and he's looking around like,
Yeah.
yes,
I'm here.
here I am.
I'm here. Yeah.
Here I am.
Sunderland, it
Don't
was
worry,
Sunderland.
Sunderland.
Thought it was.
Here I am. I'll sort this. And it was if you've not seen that goal, then you need to go and dig it out and go and check it out because that was unreal. But he had that soft touch about him with his skills. But he's also a madman as well. So
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
mind getting into the tackles. There's a really good video, a really good highlights or lowlights if you're a Wimbledon fan. But Vinnie Jones and all of that lot just booting United players, trying to boot them off the pitch. And this was before VAR, obviously. This was when you could get away with, kicking a player into the stands if you really wanted to. Some of the tackles that was going in on Cantona, unreal. And the rest of them as well. But every single time just picked himself up, got on with it. Picked himself up, got on with it. No rolling around on the floor, which he had every right to do, by the way, because some of them were really heavy challenges. Straight back into it. Straight back in. And I think Manchester United we haven't really had many players like that. And I don't think there are too many players like Eric Cantona that have ever been around in world football. I think probably the closest that you would get in our era since we've been alive, probably looking at someone like an Ibrahimovic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
You think of Aura. Henry had it, didn't he? He had
Not
that.
not the same in terms of Henry, fantastic player, but he's not in terms of the way that he held himself and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Zlatan's
pick Henry.
probably perfect.
If you was getting into a scrap outside of Wetherspoons, you wouldn't pick Henry, would you?
No.
But you would be behind Eric.
Have his
because
gloves on, wouldn't
he'd already be swinging. Exactly. And he's snood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which it looks like you've got on at the moment, mate, which is interesting.
Hey, it's cold in
snood.
Manchester, mate. Still soaking
I
wet
know.
from Saturday.
Fair. But no, in
But
terms
yeah,
of
legend.
yeah, exactly. And I guess hero status, it just has to be. Maybe this section will be called the Cantona's Heroes. The Eric Cantona Award, because it does. We do often forget, and it is worth remembering why we fell in love with football in the first place. We do this podcast not so that we can moan. I know that that's most of it at the moment. It's cathartic to get it out there, but we do need to remember that these players that we watched when we were growing up, these are the reasons why we fell in love with football. It's one of the reasons why I'm going off on a slight tangent here, but it's one of the reasons why I love watching Bruno Fernandes play. We didn't say this before in the earlier section, but when he took a few players on, did he sit down Chalobah? He sat a player down when he had that little run in the second half, and he was getting a bit nervy, and Fernandes sat him down and then had a shot from about 25 yards or 20 yards, and he went straight to the Stretford end, and he was like, "Come on!" Trying to let's go, geeing the crowd up. It's not the same as Cantona, but when you talk about heroes of Manchester United and players that you love watching, Bruno's worth the entrance fee. But I was going to ask you a question, actually, because I knew you was going to pick Cantona. I was going to ask you a question. Who of most modern day Manchester United players do you think emulates Eric Cantona? Who has that type of the makeup, the DNA of Eric Cantona closest? And I know he's one of a kind, but I thought I'd put you on the spot and ask for the closest to it.
The closest I can think of.
Yeah.
That dragged the team along. Modern day.
Or,
do you mean it's in the team now or just
in the team now? Yeah, let's say in the team now. Yeah.
There's only really Bruno, isn't there? You have to put Bruno in that category. I was thinking Wayne Rooney is what I was thinking. The other person who's got close to that kind of.
I think if we're dipping back, if we're going back, I'd say Rooney's probably got it as well. But Zlatan obviously had a stint
in the squad
Manchester
now.
United.
I think there's only really Bruno who's got that influence that I am Manchester United about him.
Can I offer you another one? And I know it's only a few games in, but Matthias Cunha.
Right. Okay.
Simply because I think he does have that flair about him, and he does have that the skill, and he can pick the ball up, and he can take on anyone and everyone. He's got the entire team on his back. It was unfortunate that he got injured, and it kind of curtailed that because I would have liked to have seen him start in those games.
Yeah.
But he's also, he's not afraid to hand out a three-piece combo to was it Bournemouth players?
He's got a switch in him, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's what Cantona had as well. Everyone knows about him diving
Rooney.
into the into the fans and flying, kicking that lad, and then landing 3 punches on him. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
why not?
he had it coming, didn't he? Yeah, do it
He
again.
did have it coming.
The shame I'd say about Cantona, Nate, before we wrap it up, is I feel like the press hounded him out. But he shouldn't have retired that early. But the English press did what they did best. And
I think you're right. I think you're right to a certain extent, but I've got to say, I don't think it was down to that. I think he just couldn't be bothered with football anymore. I don't think it. Honestly, there's some players that just play the game, and you can tell they're just going through the motions. They're really good at it, but they're not interested in it. I think Ben White was another one for like Arsenal. Like he says something about like he doesn't watch football. I'm not putting him on the same pedestal as Eric Cantona, but I'm saying like it's a job. And people can't, us watching at home, like watching or going to the stadium and watching them, we can't understand that. We don't know how you can just switch off and not watch any of the football afterwards. But that's what apparently Ben White, there's a few of them that just did not or do not watch any more football when they finished. And Paul Scholes and I don't know if you've listened to their new podcast, The Good, the Bad and the Football.
Nicky Butt.
Yeah,
I haven't
Nicky
yet,
Butt
but
and
it's on
Paul
my list.
Scholes and Paddy McGuinness. Again, they were talking about like Scholes. He was saying after the game, he'd go home and he'd watch the La Liga. He said he loved watching Spanish football, and that's a student of the game, wanted to see what they were all up to, and that's exactly what he used to do. But I think Cantona just got to that stage where he was just like, I just can't be bothered with this anymore. It's pointless. I've done what I've wanted to do, and that's it. And he's enjoying life, He's dabbled in everything. He's been an actor, he's been director, he's been an artist. He's been in was it Liam Gallagher's video? The King
he was
something.
Yeah.
He was in his video. Like he's just been
He
enjoying
retired
life.
at 30.
Yeah.
30, he retired, Dave. So you could have got another 4 years out of him, at least, couldn't you, with that style of play? But like you say, we're probably just a bit fed up with the whole thing, wasn't he?
Well, let me ask you this though, or I'll just kind of like put it in a different way. If he'd have stayed for those 4 years, would we still have these strong memories about him? Because
Possibly
he may have completely faded,
Yeah.
like a lot of footballers do. Back then, they weren't these animals that could just keep going and going and going for years and years. It takes its toll on you playing football back then. There weren't the supplements and all the rest of it that they get now. Or the little,
It says here he lost his passion for the game and couldn't concentrate on it at the required level anymore. So do you know what he probably was? He probably realised he was on a bit of a dip and thought, no, I'll go out while I'm at the top as a legend.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah. Who are Cantona? Love it.
Up next on Saturday, it is Manchester United versus Brentford at the G-Tech Stadium. Early kickoff, I think it is, 12:30. I think we're the early one. Brentford not in the best form under Keith Andrews. I know they've had some decent results, but they're not in the best form. They've lost, I think it's in their last 4 games. Lost, won, lost, drawn, and then lost on at the weekend against Fulham. Roundly beaten by Fulham 3-1. So it's a game that I'm going into with this team thinking you got to get back-to-back wins. I don't think there's any excuse not to. And I think it kind of means that Ugarte probably gets another chance to kind of prove himself because Casemiro being out gets a chance to do it, or he might play Kobbie Mainoo alongside Bruno. But surely we've got to be winning this game, mate.
This is a bigger game for the manager, I think, than the weekend, because these are the type of games where us as United fans, the press, we're expected to win this game. The game against Chelsea could have ended up 2-2, 4-1. It'd have been under a bit more pressure, but it's Chelsea. This game at Brentford is a team that's not in form, like you say. They've won one all season. We've conceded more goals than I think most in the bottom half there. So they're conceding goals. This is a game we should be winning. So there's a lot more pressure to win it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is probably way more important because it needs to be back-to-back victories. We've had back-to-back home victories, but obviously we've had the loss in between that at City. But now it's like you need to go on a run and you need to start building something. I mean, we're on 7 points, and it'll just every point helps, but you can't go into this game with anything less than the mentality of we need to leave here with 3 points. And Bumo, I know it's a different setup that you've got there. I know Andrews has brought players in. A lot of players have left. Johan Visser's left. Not Damsgaard. What's the lad called that went to Arsenal? The midfielder?
I can't remember his name. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Norgard.
Yeah.
Him going to Arsenal, it's taken a lot of their big players out. Obviously, Thomas Frank is now at Spurs. New coach, new setup, new way of playing. But Brian Mbeumo must have been there and he must have an idea of how to get at those players. It's not like they've got rid of wholesale. So you should be going into that game pretty confident that we can take them down. And I think if they set up in a positive way, especially like we talked about before, if they can start that 20 minutes that they usually do, but then carry it on for the full 90, there shouldn't be any problems at all. But because the one thing I don't want is for after this game, if it's a draw or it's a loss, to go back to that miserable, is Amorim gone? Is he going in the international break? I just want a break from it. I want a break from it. I'm sure he wants a break from it.
I'm sure he does. It's like you said, they're not the same team as they were Brentford when we got pumped there. Remember when we were under Eric and it got absolutely turned over, didn't we? But I think that probably comes down to the manager not being there for them because he had them on the front foot and had them at it, didn't he? Yeah, I think if United can do that, we start well. I think an early goal would be massively important. I think an early goal will always be massively important for United. If you get it, then it's not as much hectic. They seem to just, right, okay, we've got the early goal, be content with that.
Yeah.
I just want a clean sheet, Nathan. Just a clean sheet. And I think the goals will come because there's a stat to prove and there's a thing where we're creating it. It seems like we are creating these chances.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this XG is on clear-cut chances.
We're top of it, yeah.
So we obviously, I don't like XG and all that kind of rubbish, but we obviously are creating chances. So if we take the chances and we can keep clean sheets, which with the goalkeeper in there, I'm not sure we will be able to. But the best form of defence is attacking it, I suppose. Just do that. Just try and do that and keep it in their half. 3 points hopefully.
We'll come on to the specifics about who we think will be in the starting 11. But one person that I'm very intrigued by is who will be taking up the number 1 spot. So it's been Bayern Deer for the last couple of games, or the last few games under Amorim. He's basically said that they will compete for that spot. But I'm slightly concerned that the reports that came out this week were linking Manchester United to a number 1 goalkeeper. Mike Maignan from AC Milan was the one that was linked because they want a proper number 1 in the summer or in January, which is, I mean, is that damning about the level that Sene Lammens is at the moment? Is he that bad? I know you sent me that clip of him warming up against City the other day, but
yeah,
the only thing I can say about that was he at least he wasn't diving with his hands in his pockets like Onana usually does. But at the same time, if you're not saving any of them, and Ruben's clearly watching him in training and going, not sure about it. That's why we're playing Bayern Deer, who I don't think had a bad game. It's just one goal, 1 shot on target. I don't think he could have got near it. He probably should have dived for that Schalke goal at the weekend. But he's not been bad, and his kicking's been okay, and he's kind of become a little bit calmer with his actions in goal. But is that a concern? Do you want to see Lammens at the weekend, or do you think we just stick with Bayern Deer?
Goalkeeper's a massive concern, and I've said it for months. Massive concern. You had to go and get a established Champions League number 1. That's what they had to, and they didn't. They didn't do it. So now you're in trouble where you brought a kid in, and he's immediately under pressure to perform in training. And like you say, he's not put him in yet, has it? So it's surely it is. If he was good enough, City put Donnarumma straight in. There you go, boom. All right, we bought Trafford. Don't care. He's better. Get him in. United
Yeah.
haven't done that, so it doesn't show a lot of confidence, does it, Nathan? It doesn't.
No.
And I've not got a lot of confidence in Bayern there because I think he's nervy. He's not dominating enough. He doesn't seem to give the defense enough reassurances that he's calm and willing to come and catch the ball, which I think is big.
Do you think that would change though if he had more of a run in the team? Because this is probably his longest stint between the sticks that he's had at Manchester United. Because when we talk about, we have to remember when we talk about goalkeepers coming into the team, and you think about David De Gea, when he was getting pelters and he was getting absolutely battered against the likes of Stoke, and they were all putting the ball on him. And it's like, who's this skinny little goat face lad? He's going to get booted out here. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be in this team. But when you look at like Altay Bayindir's playing career at Manchester United, it's been cup games. It's been if a goalkeeper's been injured, then he gets to come in the league on a very rare occasion. So, do you think he could grow into that role rather than us just writing him off? Do you think it's something like it builds over time and he could become like a number one or at least a very competent number two?
No, no, I don't.
Right,
I
right,
don't.
fair
Just,
enough. Moving on then.
I don't.
So we'll just shift on to the next bit.
I don't see it. I don't see it in him at all. I think he's been brought as a number two, and his talent is as a number two. That's where we've had better number twos, Nathan, over time. I know you talk about David De Gea coming in. He were a kid. He were
Yeah.
a baby, and
Mhm.
he's not. This lad's not. He should. If he was good enough, other teams would have had him as their number one. And we bought him as a number two. It was back up to Onana, who was obviously garbage as well. But no, I don't see the confidence. I don't see his ability and his attention to be good enough for this level. All right, it might be good enough for the Turkish League, might be good enough for the Europa League. He's never going to be a proper Champions League goalkeeper standard for me.
Well,
No. Mike
that's
Maignan,
good because we're not in it.
is four. Well, yeah. Hey, well, exactly. That's the thing. Mike Maignan is 2 or 3 levels above him, and if that's what you need to get to that Champions League level, you need a Champions League goalkeeper.
I would say, and you hate him, but I would say that rather than bringing in Lamens, we should have got Emi Martinez if that was the case. And if the reports are true that they did want a goalkeeper, that Ruben Amorim really did want him, then it does make this rumor or the reports at the moment about looking for another number one seem like this is Emi Martinez was first choice. But United
Yeah.
went, nah, we're going to
That's
get this
his.
cheaper option.
That's exactly what it boils down to, Nathan. They wanted Martinez, but then they didn't want to pay what was wanted for him. Mike Maignan is out of contract at the end of the summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be another big reason why. But they won't be the only one. I think Chelsea were looking at him, weren't they, in the summer as well?
Yeah.
So a player of that quality, with that, it's not just that quality; it's that experience at a big club in Europe, national team. You don't get them on free transfers
True.
every week, do you? So that'll be why they were looking at him. Save a bit of money, and they obviously, like you say, they did want Martinez. They're not going to pay 40 million for him, and they're not going to give him the 150 grand a week that he wanted. So no, I think it'll be Bayern there as the number one for till January at least.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Lamens, maybe he'll get a couple of games in there, but he will have to produce in training. And obviously the manager's not got enough confidence in him yet.
Well, I mean, it seems like a bit of a waste of money if that is the case, because if they're going to have a conundrum come the summer, because if they are looking for another number one, or if they, even if they buy one in January, they've got Radek Vitek as well, who's out on loan, who's apparently he's well thought of at the club, seen as a future number one for Manchester United. I think is he playing for someone like it down in the English Football League? I think he's at Chesterfield, Huddersfield, someone like that. Well, apparently he's been playing okay. But then you've got the problem of, well, what do you do with Bayindir and Sene Lamens, who's only just come in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where are these players going? Because not one of them is going to want to sit on the bench. Okay, so not one of them is going to want to sit on the bench. So it's a big issue, and I think I don't know. It's like was it Oliver Holt that said this in the Daily Mail? He said it's like a whack-a-mole. You hit one down, United problems, and then another one springs up from somewhere else. Anyway, I think he'll be buying Deer in goal at the
Yeah.
weekend. Who else do you think will start? Do you think he'll go with mostly that same team that he played on Sunday? Oh, Saturday, sorry.
Yes, I think he will go with Luke Shaw until Martinez is fit again. I think that Luke Shaw will be in that position. Did okay at week. I mean, I know at City I demolished him because I thought he had a bad performance. He's got that in him. He's got a
Yeah.
bad performance in 4
Yep.
games in him, Luke Shaw. I do think Lenny Oro will start. He came on, looked sharp, Lenny Oro. I think
At
he'll
fault for the
probably.
goal, though.
Well, yeah, he was, wasn't he? I think he'll start the away games because I think it allows us to maybe start a higher line because he's got that recovery pace. I think that's where he'll lose Lenny Oro. Interesting what will be in midfield. I don't know why he's not starting Mainu. I felt so sorry for Mainu. Just because if we're playing a game against teams like Brentford, not to be disrespectful, we should be controlling the ball. There's no better midfielder at our club and controlling the ball and setting a tempo and Kobe Mainu. Please play him. Please.
I think that's interesting and a good sort of segue into what Paul Scholes was saying as well, because he was talking about how good Gavi was. He's watching Spanish football and
Brilliant.
saying, he is his new favourite player, and he was saying, we talk about all this stuff about Mainu can't run, but not all good midfielders could run. And if you're a good team, you have that pivot that just basically moves around with the ball, knows how to get out of danger, and can play the pass when he needs to. So Pedri's like that. Gavi's like that. You
Frankie
look
de
back a
Jong.
bit further. Yeah, Frankie de Jong. You look back a bit further. Andrea Pirlo, not the fastest player. Even Gattuso, he wasn't a very fast player. We've always looked for this like just chip and run style midfielders, or it has to be box to box. And I just don't think it's I don't think it's right. So I think Kobe does need a go. And Carlos Balaba, I don't know if you saw again, but he hooked at
I
half
did.
time again. Hooked at half
Stinker.
time. Yeah, he's having a bad one. So I don't know if he's planning to do this so that he can drive the price down in January.
I was going to say that. Yeah, 60 million. We'll give you 60 million for him.
Yeah,
Now,
I give him even less for that. I give him about 25 at the moment. But yeah, I do think Mainu should be given a shot. I don't think he will. I think it'll be mostly the same what we just talked about there. It'll be Bayern Deer in goal. Left centre back will be Luke Shaw. Then I think he'll continue to play Maguire in the centre.
Okay.
And then he'll play Dillit on the right side of it. Mazraoui, who just doesn't get beat to the ball, needs to be at that right wing back position. Even if he doesn't offer anything going forward, although he did have a couple of crosses against Chelsea, even if he doesn't offer as much going forward, he's better than Ahmad in that position. And then,
Yes, he is.
And then left wing back, you got to go with Dorgu. Now, this will depend on whether or not Mason Mount and Matthias Cunha are fit enough to play and start at the weekend. But I think it's more likely to be Bruno and Ugarte in the centre. And if Cunha is fit, it'll be Cunha that plays as left attacker. And Boomer
Instead of
on the
Ahmad.
right. Yeah, in Boomer on the right. And then it'll be Sesko up front. So I think that's probably... I don't think it's far off what we'll end up playing.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that I'm kind of like, maybe there could be a change there, is Bruno going up to that left position, and then, I don't know, Kobe coming in maybe to play alongside Ugarte. But let's see. Score predictions.
3-1 goals. They
3-1.
concede goals, we concede goals. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to be optimistic and say, I'm going to say 3-0, mate. I'm going to say 3-0.
We owe these a beating, don't we? The amount of times they've turned us over recently. Get at them.
Yeah, exactly. 3-0. FPL pick for this week?
Boomo all day. Brilliant, that lad. He showed again how good he is. He's superb. Yeah.
Do you know who's currently at the top of the charts for fantasy football? For Manchester United?
No, I do not.
It's an easy one. It's an easy one if you think about it.
It's got to be Bruno. Got to be Bruno, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has to be Bruno.
So 26 points. And I think I'll go with Bruno again. He just looks to be he just looks to be the person that's gonna drive things on at the moment. So I think Bruno's probably the best pick if you can afford him in the squad. And also as well, FPL, little bit of info for you, nugget of information. I don't think he's selected as much as he has been in previous years. So he's kind of floating under the radar, but he's on like a decent amount of points. So could be a decent pick. Right then, let's open the Gummers mailbag, mate. Let's get it open. I know it always makes you giggle when we
Fantastic.
talk about opening up the mailbag.
It certainly does. Love a mailbag. What?
Get it open. What
Um,
have we got inside?
Paolo, they're quite straightforward questions, but we maybe touched on a couple. Paolo, why does the manager insist on not playing Kobe Mainu? I know we touched on it.
We did touch on it. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to ask Ruben Amorim, really. But I think it's more to do with, as we said in the last section, he just likes players that can run. When we don't really need that, we need players that can control the game. Because if you've got decent attackers like Cunha and Bumo and Sesko, you want people that can keep hold of the ball and then play in that pass, that decisive pass that absolutely cuts them to pieces. Also, as well, like it's worth noting that Mainu, as well as he might not be able to cover defensively as well as, you know, anyone else in that position as a six. He does offer a threat going forward, and that's just another attacker that you put onto it. So, like you said in the last bit when we're talking about the approach to Brentford, go at him, go like attack him, and have your most attacking players on the pitch that can make a difference. Yes, we're going to concede probably, but if you can get at them first, then who knows what could happen. So I think he just. I also think there might be a slight issue between the pair of them. I also think like he may or may not have been tarnished with the same Garnacho and Rashford book. Remember, he's still a young lad,
Yeah.
and he's
I've
on
got
a decent amount of money. And well, he's not on a decent amount of money. We talked about that last time. His contract's awful, and they still haven't agreed a new contract either. So that could be another reason as well.
I've got a couple of reasons why. Tactically, squad-wise and tactically wise, I think Kobe Mainu is there as Bruno's backup. If Bruno's not in the team, Kobe takes that position up. As well, a weekend, I don't think you can see it in the tactically wise. Bruno doesn't actually play as a six. Casemiro plays as a single six in front of the back three. But Bruno goes pushing onto their six. He just goes, and that's part of the issue we've got because Casemiro can't do that. So that is probably Kobe's best position to do that as well, to be pushed up. So I think it takes away from Kobe Mainu the fact that Bruno is always available for every game and he's our
Yeah.
best player. So I
Yeah.
feel like that is the issue why he's not getting as many games. He got a brilliant round of applause, Kobe, when he come off the bench at weekend. Old Trafford all stood up to bring him on. So we all love him and we all want him to be part of the team. Bruno's not holding him back. Bruno's availability is probably stopping him getting as many minutes as he probably does because that is his best. He can't do the six physically wise. He's not that dominant midfielder, is he? But as a Bruno player, a creative, a ball player, I think that's why he's not getting as many minutes as he possibly should.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hopefully that answered the question. I've got one from John who says, what do you think of the United strand lad? You know, the guy that's growing his hair out until United get five wins on the bounce. Being attacked at Old Trafford by that angry bald fella. It wasn't you, was it, Paul?
There's a few angry ball fellas at Old Trafford.
Did you see the
I thought
footage of it?
I saw the footage. I didn't see. He's just come out. I've only just come out. He's done a clip himself explaining what happened. I've not seen it. You don't. It's disgraceful, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, no matter, because I think this guy was saying he's not even a United fan. That you don't attack people. What are you doing?
No.
Grow up.
I'll
be honest with you, Nathan. Sorry. Just
Go on.
before. There was a few things I heard at Old Trafford when I was there the other day. Middle-aged old men saying not very nice things, and I wanted to bring it up because it's disgraceful things that people are saying.
Should I guess at racist stuff?
Yeah, things like that and things. Yeah, exactly that as well. But not just that, but horrible things about people. And what is wrong with the world where you can't go to a football match and not get angry or say things that are disgraceful? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, that's another topic for another time, and probably a podcast that'll last about 3 years. Never mind
Yes.
an
Yep.
hour. But the United Strand thing, just to give a bit of like a personal perspective on this, as a man who's had a big afro comb out in my time, I once had it. I've done it a couple of times where I've combed it all out. I can't do it now because I'm in my 40s and it won't go out that far. It's receding rather than coming out. But anyway, I've combed my hair out before. I remember at a works party, and there's something just. I think it's either an intimidation thing or people just like they're attracted to it like a moth to a flame. People coming over and just trying to take it off. Do you know what I mean? Like grabbing my hair and just go like feeling like, oh, I can just go and do this. I can go and do whatever I want. Right, I'm gonna go and grab this lad's hair and try and pull it out. And on both occasions, like the first lad at the Christmas party at the company that I used to work for, just like he walked off in embarrassment because he was drunk and he didn't realise that it wasn't a wig. But also like there was a guy was out in Manchester. Oh no, I think it was out in Bury. I think it was out in Bury.
Surprise, man. Yeah.
And a guy tried to pull it off then. And there was a little bit of abuse afterwards, just anger that it wasn't
Yeah.
fake, which just seemed, which was like,
We-
what's going on here? What is
You
going
can
on?
see the guy's not sober, can't you? And you see he's had a scoop.
He's
and
well oiled. He's well
Well,
oiled.
The problem is with people like that, he won't feel bad in the morning and feel like, oh, I was wrong or anything. No, he'll be like, well, what's he doing at Old Trafford? Shut up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Clowns making the world's full of
Exactly.
them.
It is the general public are subhuman scum. So there
Apart
we
from
go.
the gummers. Apart from the
Apart
gummers.
from the
we love
gummers,
the
gummers. All right, moving on. What's the next question, mate?
Christopher. Hello, Christopher. Why doesn't our striker get any chances?
Because our midfielders and defenders don't pass to him. I think it's as simple as that. Like you look at some of the opportunities that they had to put into him at the weekend against Chelsea. Dorgu dwelling on the ball, Ahmad dwelling on the ball. There was that. My kids were in bed by this point, but there was that moment when Ahmad was down near the touchline, and he was on the right hand side of the goal, and he needed to square it, just put it across the box, drill it across the box, and he was almost on the goal line, and next to the goal, and he tried to go on the outside of the defender instead to do something clever, and I swore so loudly I woke up all three kids that were in bed, like, and that was like. You know, it wasn't a very nice name that I called Ahmad, and I love Ahmad, but it wasn't a very nice name that I called him. In fact, it was the worst swear of them all, and proceeded with silly, and it was like I just thought I don't get it, but they just seem to have this. I don't know if it's still. We talked about this. I think we talked about this before, but I don't know if it's still that. It's not Rasmus in there anymore. It's not Xerxes in there anymore. We can trust the player that's in there to either tap it in or edit in or whatever. But I think it's just there's a thing in their brain which is going, I'm just not going to pass it. I need to do this myself.
Yeah, it's Dorgu did put a couple of balls in it. Luke Shaw
He
put
did.
a few in, and it
Yeah.
looked dangerous, didn't it? But
Yeah.
they're probably just getting used to how he plays. You can see Sesko's movement. It wasn't on the pitch very long, was it? His movement.
Yeah.
We've seen him in a couple of. His movement's better than Hoyland's, and
Yeah.
he will create things more himself. His flick-ons
Yeah.
are better. Them
Yeah.
Chelsea centre halves, by the way, were absolutely massive. You don't realise how big these players are, and for him to
Yeah.
get up and rise above them, it'll come. I think it'll come,
Yeah.
and the players are getting used to his movement, etc. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried
Yeah.
about Sesko. It'll come.
No, definitely not. Go on then. You got one more there?
Uno mas. Yes, Dino again. Loves it, doesn't he? Why does Ruben Amorim insist on changing the centre backs?
I don't know. Do you know what? His in-game management has been in question for quite a while, I would say. I didn't understand why he brought Cunha on for Mbumo. Like,
Not in
I
that
think-
weather.
Exactly. Like he's had a hamstring injury Like, you don't want
Stupid.
to bring him on, like, running on a waterlogged pitch like that. So just, I don't know, again, naivety of the whole thing. But if you've got Maguire that's playing in, if there's one player that you can imagine playing in the, I almost said a swear word then, in the chucking down rain, sliding in, like, on a Sunday pitch somewhere in like the north of England, it's Harry Maguire. It's not Lenny Yoro. I'm telling you now. It's Harry Maguire. And that was the perfect game for him to be in. And he did everything right. I'm not saying that he would have defended the cross, but it's the type of game and the type of position where you want Harry Maguire to be in it. So I don't understand it. Maybe he just feels like he has to give them all minutes. I don't know. Maybe that's the entire reason.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The reason why he keeps changing the centre backs is he's got so many bloody centre backs. That's what it is. He has to. You can see it's a reason, or maybe they're a bit tired in that weather. You can refresh, but he does it every game. Eric Ten Hag did the same thing. I think Rio Ferdinand's come out this week and said it's mental. As a centre half, he can't get his head around it because you can't come in as a defender. I mean, he seems to change the wide ones, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's not the middle one. So whether he thinks that because they're covering more ground, it might also be a sports science thing, Nathan. He's done 25 miles this week, or yeah, exactly. Yeah, as a player, that'd do you all right. If you're running around there and someone all of a sudden with a stopwatch on your heart monitor, right? You've done enough this week. What are you on about? No, there's 10 minutes left in
Yeah.
the game, pal. No, I'm staying here. And I wouldn't be surprised if a few players are saying if it is that kind of thing. But I think it probably boils down to the fact that we've got so many centre halves.
Yeah. And when
So
Martinez comes back, that's going to be another one. We've also got Aiden Heaven there, who's not
Yep.
played. Has he played any minutes of Premier
Don't
League
think he
football
has
this season?
I don't think he has this season.
So yeah, it's a nice problem to have, but yeah, it would be handy if he just kept those same players on the pitch when he can. The problems are further up the pitch. It's not at the back. Just leave those lads on. They're fine. And then when they get tired, you bring them off and you bring someone else on. We don't see any of them sitting down and like, signaling, "Oh, I'm done. I'm done." Everyone wants to play out there. So yeah, it's a weird one. Let's hope he doesn't keep doing that in the future. But that is it. That is the end of another podcast. We have done it, Nate. We've done another podcast. Kept it quite trim, this one as well. Kept it lean. Didn't
Lean
go on
machine.
for. We had a few subjects to go through, and we didn't go on for an hour and 20, an hour and 30, as we have done before. It was good. Enjoyed that. I guess we'll be talking to you next after the Brentford game. It's weird having this thing because when me and Ahmed started this podcast, we would obviously have 2 games a week to talk about.
Yeah.
So we'd have the one at the weekend and then we'd have the one midweek because we're in Europe. But, we're bereft of that, which is good, I guess. Like, it gives us lots of time to think about it. Like Ruben likes, it gives us lots of time to train, get used to new ideas.
2-hour
Yeah.
podcast then, Nathan, when we've got Europe going. You'd be
I know.
fuming then.
Exactly. But no, I think it is a weird one that we do have this time in between these podcasts, but it's good when we do get on. Ahmad was going to do a little voice note, but I think he's just messaged now to say, have I missed the podcast? So it's a bit too late to squeeze it in, but hopefully we'll get him back on the show soon. As always, do not forget to sign up and follow us at Fergie's Gun Podcast across Instagram, across TikTok and YouTube as well. We've also got our newsletter, which again, I don't really do any promotion of this. I have posted it a few times on Instagram, but it seems to be doing well. So it's picking up its audience. That is Fergie's Gum at Substack. Got a few new followers in this week, and the numbers are going up. They're well into their hundreds. I think we was just shy of 1,000 on the last one that we put up there. So, it's doing okay. So you're missing out. And those newsletters are all the things that we can't cram into this. We tend to put them in there. Bit more analysis, bit more deep diving on certain subjects, and a bit more transfer roundup stuff, although it is barren at the moment, which is why Cropper's Transfer Corner has been put in the refrigerator to stay fresh until January. But
Yes.
Great as always, mate. Fantastic. Thanks for coming on and having the time for this. And we will speak to you again after the Brentford game.